This is Join Us in France, episode 200. Bonjour, I'm Annie, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we talk about France, its many quirks, its history, its language, and of course, destinations in France you want to learn about because hopefully you'll be visiting soon. On today's episode, I talk to Jeannie, Luc, and Max about the 3 days we just spent visiting Paris. Jeannie is my sister-in-law, and Luc and Max are my nephews. So, of course, I wanted to show them the best of Paris. The boys are 10 and 7, and I asked them to tell us about how things went and about the things that they liked. We've talked about visiting Paris with kids before on the podcast. If you're interested about this episode, you should also check out episode 129, Paris with Children, episode 111 and 112, more on Paris with children, episode 49, tips for visiting France with children. And if you are subscribed to the podcast, well, you can look back at old episodes to see which ones will help you plan your trip. You can see show notes and photos for this episode on joinusinfrance.com/200. There's also a pretty good search feature on joinusinfrance.com. So please make good use of that to find the information you are looking for. Join Us in France needs your support. To see all the ways you can support the show, visit joinusinfrance.com/support. All right, everybody. So here's Luc.
Hi.
And here's Max.
Hi.
And here's Jeannie.
Hi.
And I'm still Annie. And so we're just going to talk about the stuff that we did on this few days in Paris. We started out with the Eiffel Tower, right? Because you guys got in late. Do you want to talk about the lateness business?
Sure. We got in late. It was our second stop in our travel to France, and we had a little bit of travel delay. Not horrible, but we ended up arriving in the city about 5 o'clock, and then checked into our hotel. So we were looking for something a little fun to do and relax that wasn't a big time commitment. So we thought the Eiffel Tower was perfect. We also thought it would be fun to see it at night, at Annie's recommendation, because it twinkles at night a few times, and so we enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and so it was pretty easy for us because we just took the RER straight between the hotel and the Eiffel Tower. So that's fast. It was the fastest way to get there. So what do you think about the Eiffel Tower, Luc?
I thought it was super cool watching it twinkle, and I was kind of sad that the top floor was closed, but I thought going at least to the second floor was super fun.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Very often when you go late in the evening, it's closed. The third level is closed. Well, the third level can be closed anytime. You never know when they're going to close it. Maybe it's windy. Maybe they don't have enough staff. It's impossible to know. When you get to the bottom of the tower, it will say on the displays whether or not you can buy tickets for the third floor. And what did you think, Max?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So were you scared because it was too high?
Kinda.
Yeah, it's a little bit high, huh? It's. And what did you think of the twinkle?
I liked it.
Is it kind of magic?
Yeah.
Okay, so Eiffel Tower, when we got done with that, the RER was actually closed because it was after midnight. We didn't get done with this until after midnight. And I have to say, bring a jacket because even in the summer, when you're up, did you get cold up there?
It was a little bit cold. So when you're outside on the deck, you are truly outside. It's a little windy, and it was a little cold. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was waiting for you guys downstairs, and I was cold. But I had been up there 2 weeks before, a week before, and so I didn't want to go again. But All right, so that was the Eiffel Tower. Then we got some sleep. And then the next day, we went to the Jardin des Plantes, so the Natural History Museum for Paris. And this is an area that has several things you can do. Today, we're just going to talk about the paleontology building and the T-Rex exhibit. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So first we went to the paleontology building, and it was extremely cool. Right, boys? Yeah. We loved it. So you walk into this room, and there are bones of everything from teeny tiny little birds that are like a half an inch tall to dinosaurs that are huge. And it was just really interesting. It was really cool. We all really liked it.
Yeah, you see a mammoth. What did you like, Luke, in there?
I loved the T-Rex skull.
Oh, but was there a T-Rex skull in the paleontology?
Well,
maybe there was.
In the first museum.
Okay.
Like in the first dinosaur museum that you were talking about, had a big T-Rex skull.
Oh. Okay, see, I had forgotten that. I thought the T-Rex stuff we saw in the next building over. But they had like mammoths, they had whales, they had ginormous things.
Ginormous.
I loved the giant armadillo.
Oh my gosh. I loved the giant armadillo. It was hilarious.
Which one was scary, Max?
I don't really think there was any. The giant crocodile.
Yeah, there was a giant crocodile. It was like, 30 feet long?
It was huge. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was also some eggs too.
Yeah, there were some eggs from ostriches or something. Very large.
There was ostrich eggs, and on a different level, there was like a ton of random eggs.
Mm-hmm. And there were some that were like the size of a basketball, honestly. Like, they were really large eggs. I don't know where they got those. But, yeah. So, anyway, that's a beautiful building. The whole... Just being in the building is really interesting because it's an Art Deco building and you have all these cabinets. I would say that that's an old style type of museum with all these beautiful cabinetry and one problem I found with it is that everything is written out in Latin and by hand. And so it's beautiful calligraphy, but if you're not used to that sort of calligraphy and if you can't read Latin, you don't know what you're looking at.
I agree with that. But it was still super cool. Even if you couldn't identify exactly what it was, there were so many things that we could identify that, true, but it didn't change my opinion.
Yeah.
Overall.
I think when they redo this museum, when they remodel it, which they will eventually, it would be nice if they, labeled things in a script that we are used to now. But it's fancy. I mean, it's beautiful. And then we went from there. We got some lunch just right there in the garden, and we went to the T-Rex exhibit. Now that's only temporary. It's only till the 2nd of September of 2018. And so if you're in Paris this summer with kids, I highly, highly recommend that. What did you think, Jeannie?
We loved it. They had the coolest interactive activities for kids that I've ever seen at a museum. So I would highly recommend it as well. If you have kids, mine are 10 and 7, and they really loved the activities. I'll let them tell you about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you were mentioning that going in that order you thought was clever.
I did, because the Paleontology Museum didn't have, kind of some of the newer interactive things that museums do for kids, or specifically children's museums do for kids. And the T-Rex did. So I thought kind of the building of kind of traditional museum style to something that had some cool interactive technology was a good order, so that they didn't go to, from cool interactive to something that didn't, and feel like, hey, where's this piece here? Yeah. So
yeah, it was very cool. So what did you like in the interactive stuff, Luke?
I liked the biking game where you're supposed to like bike away from the dinosaur.
Right. Explain a little bit how that works.
So you're pretty much on this like some sort of
A stationary bike.
yeah, a stationary bike, and you're just trying to pedal away from a big T-Rex until the end of the track. I also really liked the spray painting like thing. They had to use some really high-tech stuff to do that.
Right. Do you want to explain how that worked?
Yeah. So what it did was like these cans that look like spray paint, but if you click the button on it, it points like a red laser at the screen at where you're pointing it at. And if it's on the screen that you're coloring on, then it turns the dinosaur that color, and it's super cool.
Right. So there were maybe, how many cans did you say there were?
6, exactly 6.
So there were 6 cans, so 6 kids could at the same time be coloring this dinosaur different colors. Did you like that too, Max?
Yeah. And also, video games are the best.
So, say that again?
Video games are the best.
You're right, I think. I don't know. I don't play video games. But it felt like playing a video game, huh?
Yep.
So yeah, that was a very cool display. There was another one where you could say it again.
It was kind of like the one Annie was just barely talking about,
Which is Dab Dab Revolution.
which is kind of like like Just Dance or Dance Dance Revolution, and like you're a dinosaur and you gotta do certain moves to win.
Yeah. Did you win?
I won every single time.
Did you win, Max?
No, because my thing was not working for some reason.
Exactly. It was the thing's fault.
For sure.
Otherwise, you would have won.
Yeah.
How cute is that? What else was there? Let me think. Was there other stuff in there? I mean, and of course, you get to see the T-Rex, the bones of the T-Rex. And this is a full T-Rex from Wyoming?
Yep. That's right, Wyoming. And they just discovered it 5 years ago and then excavated it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and then it goes on this traveling exhibition. So if you can't see it in Paris, you might be able to see it wherever you live. Honestly, it's an hour well spent. Now, another thing I need to tell you about that is that when you go to the Natural History Museum in Paris, it is the entry fee. It's not included in your museum pass. And they kind of nickel and dime you a little bit because each building has a different fee to enter. So what we did on this one, they also have a very good fee, a very good program for families. So if you go 2 adults and 2 kids, there's a special ticket called Tribu, Tribu, which means it means group or family, and you don't have to be related. And you can ask for your Tribu ticket to be for both the Paleontology Museum and the T-Rex exhibit. Or you can just do one or the other. But if you don't buy them together, you'll have to pay again. So pay attention to that because it'll save you a little bit of money. For 4 of us, I think it was like 32 or 36 or something. It wasn't outrageous to see both of those things. I thought that was a really good price. You know, if you go with kids, it's a good way to go. Don't buy separate tickets for 2 adults and 2 kids. You'll pay more. All right, so that was the second day, and that's all we did that day, right?
It is. We were pretty worn out after that. We took it easy and hung out at our hotel that night.
Yeah, I think this is really good advice for people who are traveling with kids is don't try to pack too much in because you'll just exhaust yourself and the kids are going to get really cranky. On Saturday morning, we did a treasure hunt in the Louvre with a lady who has been on the show. I can't remember what episode number it was, but it was several years ago. And the company is called That Lou. It's excellent. I really enjoyed that.
It was the best. I think that day we spent 6 hours at the Louvre.
You're right.
And we had a quick lunch, not too long. So even if that was an hour, 5 hours in the Louvre with 2 young kids is pretty amazing. And I think this game that we did of the treasure hunt probably doubled the time that we would have spent there with kids, just because they were so excited. It was really fun for them to try to figure it out and find the items on the hunt. So I would highly recommend it. It was a great activity.
It's not particularly easy, I didn't think. You have to really use your noodle. You have to work together. But I'll give you one hint. If you're looking for an item that's from the 1400s and the dates displayed in front of you say 1700s, you're in the wrong room. Because in the Louvre, it's organized by region and by date. And so just look at the dates of what you're looking for and the dates of what you're looking at currently. That will help you find it a little bit faster. But we spent a lot longer than you usually set a time. You're playing against another team. That day we were playing against another team, but they had to leave so soon because they had overscheduled their day, which was, in my opinion, a terrible idea, but that's neither here nor there. And they had to leave quickly. So we just figured, listen, we'll just send them a text about how many points we got at a specific time and call it good. And we kept going. What did you think of the Louvre?
I thought it was super interesting and that the game was super fun. And there were so many cool things to see. And it was awesome.
Yeah. Did you see the Mona Lisa?
I actually got a picture of the Mona Lisa without standing in line.
How did you do that?
I just went to the side of the line and I was waiting with my camera till there was like a view of it, and then right when someone got out of the way, I was like, perfect.
Very good. Did you like the Louvre? Did you like the treasure hunt?
Yeah, and there's some paintings that are actually scary.
That's right. There were some that were scary.
There were some.
Yep. And some of them, I like to tell the story of what's happening in the painting, but some of them I was trying to tell your mom, and a couple of times you told me, maybe not to kids.
Yeah, maybe skip that story for the kids. Some of them are a little disturbing. There are periods in our history that people were a little crazier than they are now. So, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, if you go into the history, if you just walk past those paintings, you're not going to be frightened. But unless you're very sensitive to that kind of thing. But if you know the history, you're like, so yeah. But anyway, I highly, highly recommend the treasure hunt in the Louvre. It was well done. The way it works is one of the people from that company meets you at the beginning, explains the rules, gives you some tips of how to proceed, and then tells you set a time, gives you the answer sheet, because there's some bonus points you can look, like if you can count the number of dogs in the Wedding of Canaan, which is straight across from the Mona Lisa, and it's not easy to find all those dogs. It's a huge painting. It's the biggest painting in the Louvre. So, you get extra credit for those. You want to?
I highly recommend that treasure hunt for any age. I thought it was super cool.
Maybe if you have a 2-year-old, it wouldn't, right?
Yeah, if they were young, then they wouldn't be that interested.
Yeah. But you're 10, your brother's 7, and you both had a good time. Yeah.
So, and I thought it was super cool. We got to see so many cool things, and I loved it.
Yeah. And at the end, we were like, we're only missing I don't know, how many did we not see? Maybe
6 or 7 or something. We were pretty close, but we were all too tired to carry on.
Right. So at that point, we're like, okay, we're done. We're done. Keep it for another day. So again, don't overdo. Like kids, they enjoy things if you don't, if you can read their body language and all of that. So, but you know that they're your kids. All right. So, and then that day you also went on a river cruise.
We did, which we really enjoyed. It was took about an hour up and down the Seine a little. Enjoyed some of the sights. There's a great tour guide that tells you a little bit about what you're seeing. And it was a nice follow-up, I think, to the Louvre because we just got to kind of sit and relax and enjoy some pretty views.
Yeah, it was that one's a good one to do when you're tired and you just get to sit and then somebody tells you things and it's pretty and it's interesting. What do you think, Luke, about the Seine cruise, the river cruise?
I highly recommend it. I thought it was super awesome to see the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame and a few other things. And I thought it was just nice to relax and see all the things. Oh, and we also saw the smallest house in Paris.
Yes. That's right. Yes, I always like to point that one out. It is interesting, isn't it? It's very small.
Oh, like it's so small that nobody lives in it. That's how small it is.
Yes, and now am I remembering this right? Max didn't go on the cruise, right? Yeah. Right, I was in the hotel with him. That's what we did. I had just done the cruise again the week before with customers, and so I just said, oh, this little boy is tired. I'll just take him back to the hotel. He can take a nap, and then the rest of you can enjoy the cruise. So that was our Saturday. On Sunday, we meant to go to the Luxembourg Garden, which is a fantastic thing to do on a Sunday morning, but we slept in, and that's fine. And it was too late, and you know what? We skipped it. We didn't do it. And then in the afternoon, we went to the Philharmonie de Paris. So it's called the Philharmonie. It's the big new concert hall and music museum. I had wanted to go, and I was really glad that we got to go on this one too.
Yeah, it was really neat. The music is something that's my family come from a family of musicians, and so that part was fun. But there were also things I'd never seen before. I mean, early instruments that were works of art, really, and some really interesting things that I had no idea existed. So it was really fun, and the kids liked it too. I think that museum also gave a different twist. There was an audio tour that they gave, and there were special audio numbers, for kids versus adults that had a different dialogue for them that they thought was interesting, and so they had a great time there too.
So, Luke, did you like the museum as well?
I thought it was super interesting. There was super old, I don't know, some crazy looking saxophone kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and there was a very old oboes that looked like a snake. All sorts of. So for any instrument, you take an oboe and you have different sizes. You have the soprano and the alto and the blah blah blah, all of that. They were cool, and you get to hear them, right? That's what I really liked. Is with your earphones, you can punch in the number, and I was listening in French. You guys were listening in English, and everybody was happy. Even the kids' thing was in English. Yeah.
Well, there was this other super cool thing when even better than a double double guitar thing. It was and it was a three, there was 3 separate handles that had 4 or 5 strings on it.
Right. It was like a guitar with 3 necks. And the same body. It was really weird. I don't know that anybody plays that anymore. Maybe they do. I don't know. There were a lot of things, instruments from Asia, from the Middle East, from all sorts of places. Now, Luke, you play an instrument, right?
I play the the piano, the recorder, and the violin.
Right, and we got to see a lot of interesting looking pianos and violins.
Yeah, we got to see a ton of cool old violins and pianos and
harpsichords. What instruments do you play, Max?
Just the piano, and there's also this like little turtle, little.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was
guitar. I believe it was a guitar, and it was actually made out of a turtle shell. So the body of the guitar was a turtle shell, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful, and it sounded good. I was surprised how good it sounded. Also, the other thing that I really enjoyed is that there was a man there demonstrating the accordion, and he was playing stuff, and I tried to ask him to play the intro music for the show, but he didn't recognize that the title of that song, and I wasn't going to sing it for him because I'm not that good, but he played some other stuff, and I will close out the show with some of the stuff that he played that I recorded. Hopefully it sounds good. I haven't checked it, but hopefully it sounds good. But I like the accordion. Did you like that too, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. All right, and that is it. That's all we did. So we had 3 full days plus an evening, and then the next morning, Monday morning, we all packed up and came to the beach.
And I think it was the right amount of time. I think the kids had had enough of the fast pace running around the city seeing the sights. So I don't, your kids, but for young kids, I would say add a little beach time after the busy time.
Yes.
You're ready to relax.
Yeah, and honestly, it's. I mean, for kids that age, the beach is the best thing you can do. Paris is wonderful too, but they're not going to enjoy Paris day after day after day after day after day. It's just too much. And also, if you're not coming from a big city, just the fact that you're in a big city is stressful because you have the noise, the traffic. The fact that it's just all different,
Dangerous crossing the street.
Yes. Yes, we had some, uncomfortable moments. Thankfully, nothing bad happened. But yeah, you just have to understand that kids don't know how to handle big cities so well. Okay, now I want to ask you, Jeannie, specifically about picky eaters.
Yes, I know all about that because I have 2 of them. And the thing that was really unique about, I don't know if it's unique, but the thing that was different that I hadn't thought about going into this trip was that in America, restaurants always have a kids menu, with some choices, the mac and cheese, the quesadilla, something kids are going to like. That's not a thing in Paris or probably, in a lot of places. So it was... One of my children kind of adapted well because he likes bread and meat and cheese and is willing to try a little bit of new things as long as it's not a green vegetable or fruit, My other child is even pickier, the younger. So it was rather challenging to find things for him to eat. So I think just kind of if you know that going in and you can plan or look at menus before you go or have a snack in your purse. I did that. That pulled me through one night by finding, a side dish. I think he ate some of my fries and then I had a snack in my purse to subsidize that. So, And
you also had booked an apartment hotel.
Yes, I did. And I did that intentionally. I think that eating at a restaurant 3 times a day with children is not relaxing or enjoyable. I think that having something with a kitchen where you can eat at home just to, whether it's breakfast or if you had a long, busy day and you just want to grab something for dinner on the way back, but I think it makes it a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, we were staying at the Citadines, so that's very close to Notre Dame. It's a little bit expensive, I would say.
Yeah, I thought it was a little expensive. I didn't book with a lot of notice, and it was in the summer, so I don't know if that played into it, just that it may have been mostly booked up when I found it.
Yeah, but it was comfortable. It was adequate for, for the two of us ladies and the two kids. Yeah, I thought it was a fine choice.
I did too. I would recommend it or stay there again. I thought it's not, pure luxury, but, if you're looking for something that was definitely clean, it was well kept, it, was comfortable. It was actually a little bigger than I thought it would be. I expected to be crammed into a slightly smaller box, so it worked really well for us.
All right, guys. So can you tell me what your favorite thing was in Paris? Maybe just one thing. Think about it for a second.
I think my favorite thing in Paris was the Eiffel Tower.
Why?
I thought it was just super cool to watch it sparkle and go up a few floors, and you could see like a ton of stuff, and I thought it was super cool.
Very good. And what was your favorite thing?
I like the Eiffel Tower too.
Yeah, it's a favorite. I know it's cheesy, and I know there's some people who say it's overdone, blah, blah, blah. It's lovely. It's fun. It's good for kids. And you don't even have to do a special tour there. You can just go up, look around, try to guess what the monuments are around, what you're looking at. I think it's super cool. Okay, thank you so much, you guys, for sharing with everybody how your trip went. That was very nice. Can you say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bonsoir.
Au revoir, bravo! There are no new patrons this week, but I am very grateful to the 123 patrons currently who donate either $2, $5, or $50 per month to the show. Those of you who donate $50 get an hour of my time on the phone per month, either to practice your French or to get me to give you custom help with your own trip planning. Rewards for $5 donors are the French History Brief or Lunch Break French. Donors at the $2 level get 2 of my best high-resolution photos of France per month, and they can do whatever they want with it. So more rewards are heading your way in July, folks. And as always, thank you for supporting the podcast. For my personal update, I'm recording this on June 22nd, 2018. As I mentioned in the episode, Jeannie, Luke, and Max and myself flew down to Catalonia from Paris to spend a few days at the beach. It was really fun. Kids love to hang out at the beach, especially when the weather is warm. And if you have nice sand, calm water, the weather has been really fantastic for us, both in Paris and in Catalonia. The family left this morning. I stayed behind to get some work done without any distractions, and it's working out so far. Then I'll take the TGV train, so that's the fast train between Barcelona and Toulouse, and I'll report on how that goes on next week's show. I was able to select the direct train, so it should get me home to Toulouse in just a little over 3 hours, and it takes me 4 hours to drive, so that's pretty cool. Then next week, I'll be driving to the Loire Valley to next to Saumur. Exactly, that's Saumur, to go pick up my new puppy. So I'll share pictures soon, folks. She's a beautiful Labradoodle puppy girl. The next few shows are going to be on Operation Overlord, about the liberation of Normandy, or D-Day. That's great for people who are planning a trip to Normandy. And the week after that, I'll be doing an episode with Elise on the Chateau de Vincennes. Vincennes is to the east of Paris. Got my directions turned around here. And it's a chateau that not a lot of people visit, but it has a lot of interesting things about it. And Elise will tell us all about that. This is episode 200 of the podcast, and I wanted to do something special with Elise but I haven't been home long enough to do that, and she has been very busy too. So I guess we'll celebrate our long-lived podcast when we get to episode 300. There are lots of ways to listen to the show. If you know someone who is going to be visiting France soon, tell them they can listen with their Alexa smart speaker or with their smartphone using Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or with any number of podcast apps. They can even listen on the joinusinfrance.com website if they wish. To connect with me, email Annie at joinusinfrance.com or leave a message at 1-801-806-1015. You can also ask to join the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook. When you do, please answer the questions so I know you're not a spammer. Have a great week of trip planning. Have a good time in France, and I'll talk to you next week. Au revoir. The Join Us in France travel podcast is written and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2018 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.